400 metres long and weighing 200,000 tonnes, stuck in what's often described as the most important shipping lane in the world, a maritime accident with global implications. The Ever Given container ship became wedged across the Suez Canal on Tuesday when high winds blew her off course. About 12% of global trade passes through the 193-kilometre-long canal, which connects the Red Sea with the Mediterranean, providing the shortest link between Asia and Europe. The vessel, carrying around 20,000 containers, is registered in Panama and operated by Taiwanese transport company Evergreen Marine. It was sailing from China to the port city of Rotterdam in the Netherlands when it got stuck. The Japanese owner has apologized but says the situation is extremely difficult.
At present, the traffic along the Suez Canal has been disrupted due to the incident, and local authorities are working on resolving the issue using tugboats, but there is no estimated time for it to be resolved.
This image, posted on a ship tracking website, shows the backlog of at least 150 vessels stuck in the northern entrance of the canal at Port Said, in the middle in an area called the Bitter Lakes, and at the southern entrance at Suez. The vast majority of oil from the Gulf is transported to Europe along the canal. Oil prices rose sharply on Thursday. Industry experts are warning of a flood of insurance claims covering the vast amount of cargo being held up, including automotive parts and consumer goods.
The economic implications are, as you said, in the billions of dollars. And it's more complicated as things stand because a lot of the losses are delay losses without physical damage that implicates particular admiralty rules that may prevent innocent parties from recovering their damages from the ship owners.
Egyptian officials say at least 8 tugboats are trying to dislodge the vessel, which experts say could take days, if not weeks. Containers may have to be offloaded in order to lessen the weight. Ships now face the prospect of having to travel thousands of additional kilometres around the southern tip of Africa, a huge cost and potentially delaying delivery of goods by weeks.
It's a cork in a bottle, and there's no way to go. And as you've described, the ships that are stuck throughout the canal and at the north end are in a precarious position, and they may not be able just to turn around and take another course, as long as and expensive as it is to go from the Mediterranean around Africa and vice versa.
The Suez Canal Authority says around 20,000 ships passed through the canal last year, earning Egypt billions of dollars in toll fee revenue. The Ever Given is one of the largest container ships in the world, but for every hour and every day it remains stuck on a reef and stationary, there are concerns about the financial fallout and impact on global trade. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera.
Very pleased to have James Moran with us now, an economist, former EU ambassador to Egypt, Jordan and Yemen as well, and an associate senior research fellow at the Centre for European Policy Studies. With us from Brussels today. Great to have you with us. There is that phrase which we use in life sometimes saying, it's like trying to turn an oil tanker around. Now, cargo ship this time, obviously, but that's what it's like, isn't it? This is not a situation where we can just, if it was airlines, you could say, right, we ground flights here, we redirect them here, and we can get on with it. This is a really slow turnaround.
Yeah, and it's, as you can see, and your reporter just brought out, it's an incredibly complicated technical challenge that lies before the Suez Canal Authority and everybody else involved in getting this thing back on the water. And it's going to take some time. I think it's important what the salvage company has been saying, which has been very cautious about the time it's going to take to right this ship, and it could well be a few days. But a few days, of course, is very, very costly. Each day, people have made estimates of between $8–10 billion of trade going through the Suez Canal. Absolutely fundamental for European supply chains. It's not just about oil. It's just as important, the goods coming from the Far East, China and so on. China, #1 partner for trade with the European Union. And most of the stuff goes through the Suez Canal.
Not without precedent, James. The canal has been closed previously when it was nationalised, when the Arab-Israeli war happened. I guess it's just a different world now in that you have ships that are so much bigger than they were then, so much more trade happening around. And as we see, this was an accident. It could happen at any time. How do you mitigate against that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, one thing that's very important, not for now, but once the situation is resolved, and I'm sure it will be, it may take time, there will be a need for a very thorough, transparent international investigation into what happened. Was it the weather? Was it the problem on the ship itself with its engines? Was it the Suez Canal Authority? Of course, don't forget that the ships that go through the canal are under the authority of pilots provided by the SCA. A whole series of possibilities are there as to explain why it happened. But to make sure it doesn't happen again, that will be very, very important. And it will not be an easy thing to do. An international investigation in something like this will be a challenge for everyone, including the Egyptian authorities. Don't forget, and you just mentioned the history of the Suez Canal. Yeah. The Suez Canal is an iconic symbol of Egyptian independence, so it will take some time.
Yes, so can I ask you to zero in on Egypt a bit more? Obviously, you've told us about the wider implications, but the importance, the economic importance, the employment, all of these things to Egypt itself.
Yeah, there are two main aspects for Egypt. One are the revenues they get from the passage of ships through the canal, which are worth up to $6 billion a year, which I think is the third or possibly the fourth most important source of foreign exchange for Egypt. And the second part of it is, of course, the developments that have been taking place around the canal area, the Suez Canal Free Zone, where you've had a number of investments, especially from China and elsewhere, in the last few years from companies who are wanting to take advantage of the strategic position of the canal and the European market on the other side. So they employ a lot of people, thousands of people are working there, and you have many people working at the Canal Authority as well. All of these jobs are not at risk, but they're certainly extremely important for the well-being of Egypt.
Yeah. It's just a fascinating story, isn't it? Playing out in front of us almost in slow motion. James Moran, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.